But you see, I love the South. Thank you. Thank you so much. Who are you? Oh, perfect, perfect. Fine, I'm going to give this in German just to fuck with you. Also, guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Wovon man nicht sprechen kann, darüber muss man schweigen. Well, come on! My mother's German. I've got lots of tricks up my sleeve. No, you're not. Well, you see, I am one of life's givers. Not sexually, you understand. You saw him a minute ago. But I am one of life's givers, so I have donated my birthday. I've donated my birthday. My birthday is now World Patriarchy Day. And the point of World Patriarchy Day is to remind you that the things that feminists tell you about how awful, how depraved, how toxic, oppressive that men are, well, it's not quite true. It's not quite all it's cracked up to be, now is it? I think we know this. I had makeup done today. Do you like it? You look good, right? Yeah. All right. Now, I heard earlier that there were protesters outside that were planning to bring eggs and paint. So I wore a white robe specifically to get covered. And yet again, the progressive left lets us down. Once again, they're just too low energy to show up. There's me tossing out a $5,000 outfit to wear this. And they don't even show up. Would you like it? This was embroidered for me by Daddy. They made it for me at the Trump golf course in Miami. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. All right. Well, your campus socialists apparently did not have a birthday present waiting for me. This is what they do to me on the internet, you know. This is what they do to me, the white supremacists and the anti-Semites. They don't like me very much. The Daily Stormer has declared holy war on me. Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to do Oy vey, what's up, mein Goys? Can you do that? Can you spell it out? No, he's fucked. Right. No clue. All right, well, strap yourself in, because it doesn't get any better from here. Right. Well, thank you, darling. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome, not only to my birthday and to World Patriarchy Day, but welcome to the Dangerous Faggot Tour. My name, of course, is Milo. I'm the social justice editor at BuzzFeed. I'm not, but I did once say I was on Twitter, and they took my verification check away. They invented an entirely new category of misbehavior just for me. They sent me an email I've never seen before, and it said, due to impersonation of another verified identity, we are requiring you to change your bio, or you will not have access to Twitter. It was an entirely new category of misbehavior invented just for me, which I was very proud about. I was very happy with that. Now, when I learned that Clemson, a very fine establishment, it's a good school, I'm happy to be here. When I learned that Clemson had banned Harambe, I knew I was destined to visit you. I knew I had to come and say hello. With no option but to come and to say hello after you declared Harambe haram. I knew it would be one of my favorite stops on the tour. Now let's get this out of the way. Harambe is not a racist concept. Harambe is not a racist meme. It never was and never will be. Harambe is being slandered, libeled, defamed, just like that poor little peeper frog. Look at him. Poor little thing. They've even put him over here, so you don't get the pictures with me, but I don't care. Look. He's lovely. He's lovely. So cute. Who could possibly object to that? Well, Hillary, apparently. I'm glad the Southern Poverty Law Center has identified the real cause of racial tension in this country. It's not bad schools. It's not decades of incompetent democratic government. It is a cartoon frog. Well, congratulations, guys. You really nailed it. Clemson also bizarrely associates Harambe with rape. I want to know how they found out about my sexual fantasies. Somebody was supposed to take that joke out. I've come to you as a mission of mercy. I've come to you sacrificing my own birthday to right these wrongs, to clear Harambe's name at Clemson. It's nice to be here instead of, being in civilization. Could have oh, stop it! Stop it! One joke at your own expense, you're as bad as Amy Schumer's audience. I enjoyed that, by the way, didn't you? Horrified Amy Schumer tells a joke about Trump and 300 people walk out. I mean, frankly, if you pay $300 to see Amy Schumer, the joke is on you. But I was happy that some people expressed themselves. Now look, my fans and my protesters, who we love, but don't we love our protesters? Don't we have the best protesters, folks? Well, not tonight. I wouldn't want to be at any other campus for my birthday. I will confess that some of the tour crew got me a birthday cake with the correct number of candles, which was a problem. So I've taken a leaf out of Hillary Clinton's book, and they will be experiencing a mysterious automobile accident on the way home this evening. One of them will experience slashed tires and a small explosion. Another of them will be discovered with a pillow on their face, because of course that's how we all sleep. Did they get Scalia? Did they? Who knows? Now, in honor of my birthday, I have named, as you know, the 18th of October, World Patriarchy Day, to give away to the benefit of all mankind. It's a celebration for all men to come together in recognition of the achievements of dudes, people with penises. This is an opportunity... Stop it! Stop it! No. 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 I'm a dangerous faggot, but I don't want to be an unemployed faggot, so stop it. She does look like a man. And I will never, ever stop saying so, whatever Twitter does. Now, feminism, of course, defines the patriarchy as a sinister and invisible conspiracy designed to keep women down. But the fact that the majority of suicides are men, combat deaths are men, almost all workplace deaths are men, along with men lagging behind women in higher education, shows that this is a made-up fairy tale. If there is a patriarchy, it's not doing a very fucking good job. It is a fairy tale, just like a feminist sex life. And really, everything else that feminists believe is a fairy tale too, and sort of offensive. I've just worked out what's making a noise. It's you. Right. No, maybe it wasn't that. Just like a feminist sex life, it is a fantasy. And men are being routinely lied to and lied about by popular culture. And everything else feminists believe is just as ridiculous. Like the fact that mentally ill transsexuals constitute a civil rights frontier. It wasn't a joke. No, it wasn't a joke. It was a serious point, actually, and I will be serious for a moment, just for a second with you. Imagine, if you can, being a young black person who has been taught, wrongly, admittedly, by the progressive left. We'll get to that. Oh, do you like her? Isn't she great? It's my drag alter ego, Ivana Wall. What? Divine. Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. Ivana Wall. It's good. Imagine being a young black kid who has been taught wrongly by the progressive left that you were the victim of oppression, of white supremacy, all the rest of it. And that your forefathers fought for civil rights, finally managed to achieve equal status, equal pay, equal representation. And then cast your mind forward to 2016, to current year, in which Time magazine is suggesting that a psychiatric illness represents, in their words, the new civil rights frontier. Comparing your struggles, in effect, to an attempt by the progressive left, by the far loony left, to legitimize or to posit mental illness as a sort of aspirational lifestyle choice. If I were black, I would find that quite offensive, and I find literally nothing offensive. So I'm not being entirely flippant with that. Now, with a little help, we are here to talk about the patriarchy, with a little help from the ultimate primate patriarch, Harambe, I'd like to revisit some of the reasons that the patriarchy is wonderful. Now, first of all, intelligence. Gorillas are smart. Some of them can even use language, but unfortunately Harambe wasn't smart enough to understand what happens when you spill Clinton Foundation secrets. Sadly, not smart enough to keep his mouth shut. But intelligence is a virtue of the patriarchy, and Harambe, peace be upon him, knew that men are more likely, by virtue of IQ distribution, to be either really dumb or really smart, while women cluster around the mean. Now, that's not to say, as the progressive left likes to misquote, likes to suggest that I say, which I don't say, it's not to say that women are dumber than men. That isn't the case. The amount of IQ in a typical sample size of men and women is the same, but it is distributed differently. Men tend to occupy the genius ends of the scale and also the knuckle draggers. So, the people I go hunting for on Friday night. People who can barely string a sentence together. That's where I live. But men occupy both extremes of the scale. It's why there's no female Mozart. But it's also why men fill the prisons. In a sense, it's a sort of double-edged sword. Men have some advantages over women in IQ, which is not a perfect measure of anything, but it does fairly accurately predict your ability to succeed in a globalized information economy. Women tend to cluster around the mean, around the average, around 100. Now, why does this matter? Well, most of the great thinkers of the past were dudes. Think of the Greeks, Renaissance men, Confucius for some diversity, and yes, the great minds of America, the founding minds of America. In a generation, radical feminists will be forgotten entirely. Most of them will have died early from obesity. So there's no reason to worry about them procreating. That's not going to happen. But the reason they'll be forgotten isn't because they are fat and they will die sooner. The reason they'll be forgotten is that they don't create anything. They don't invent anything. And that's not because they're stupid, although most of them obviously are. It's because they have set themselves up as conspiracy theorists, haters, trolls, trying to explain away an interesting feature of intellectual history as an example of prejudice and oppression. And it isn't. Men, on the other hand, are constantly inventing things, and only some of those inventions are for killing other men. Now, everything from the aerosol can to the zipper came from the mind of a man. If there are shelves around you, seats around you, chairs, all the rest of it, all of that shit was invented by men. Why is that? Is there a sort of secret conspiracy to hide the inventions of women? No. If a feminist had an amazing invention, trust me, she'd be tweeting about it. Trust me, she'd be loudly throwing it in the face of all the other women around her. There's science to this, a science to suggest why this might be the case. Professor Simon Baron-Cohen at the University of Cambridge has proven what we sort of instinctively all already know. Women are more adept at empathy and communication, while boys have minds that are better at systematizing. That is to say, the male brain is better at understanding how a system works, and therefore, how a system can be improved, how it can be controlled, how it can be enlarged. Men's brains are the perfect tool for battling and overcoming the natural world. For example, building cities, spaceships, submarines, or internet porn. Feminists try to push women forward as successful inventors, but what we end up with very often, because this is so often political, is charlatans. Does anybody know about a Silicon Valley startup called Theranos? Anyone heard of that? Theranos. Well, the CEO of Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes, is a fraudster. Her technology doesn't do what she says it does. Why did she get a pass for so long? Yahoo has a CEO, possibly the most disastrous in all of the history of that company, a company that used to be great. Why she had a pass for so long? There's some questions here that have more to do with politics than accomplishment. Any man would have been dismissed as a fraud long ago running Theranos, but the media is afraid to call Elizabeth Holmes a faker because of her gender, and that is called privilege. Being given things that you have not earned, inheriting advantages that you have not worked for, is called privilege. And while the progressive left will seek to tell you that white middle-class male privilege is where it's at, the numbers, the data, the evidence simply isn't on their side. And women get a free pass for all sorts of things and get advantages over you in all sorts of ways. A very widely cited 2015 Cornell study showed that women have a 2-to-1 advantage going into STEM subjects over men just for having breasts. And if you ask anybody honestly that who works in the tech industry, they'll tell you the same thing. I have many good, one of my best friends, in fact, I won't incriminate her because she'll be excised from polite society if anyone knows she knows me. But she's an entrepreneur, a very successful one. And she's happy to admit privately that being a woman has been the single greatest advantage that she has ever had. Not her great education, not being lucky enough to be born in Australia, which was, well, I don't know what she's talking about there, but being a woman has given her access to things that she would not have had as a man. Everybody will write about whatever she does automatically, just because she's got breasts. That is called privilege. And the reason that I bring this up and use the language of the left against them is, one, because it's very important to hold these people to their own standards. Two, because it's fun. And three, because it illustrates my point, which is that most of the stuff that you hear about patriarchy, if it were ever true, is decades out of date. And if it were ever true, is something that women should be thankful for. Now, virtue number 2 is strength. Now, gorillas are incredibly strong. I think I dated you. They can rip a man limb from limb, which sounds exciting, but I probably regret the experience afterwards. Men are physically stronger than women, and also more willing to put themselves into danger. Men feel the need to test their limits, especially against nature. Now, all of these traits combine to make them more effective in a lot of roles, like combat soldiers and lumberjacks. Men's strength often shows up in unexpected and different ways. Today's young men have to be strong to resist the feminist brainwashing, to resist left-wing brainwashing that we call college. You also have to not... Sorry, you have a word for it in America, it's called college. Yeah? You also have to not scream when you're lectured about the virtues of a vegan diet. Or you hear your... No, I mean, God, I feel so sorry for you guys. Having to sort of nod and smile when your dorm room cohabitant tells you their pronouns. There are only 3 genders: male, female, retarded.